We'll start with a real brief introduction. I recognize some of your names. It's great to see you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Larry Goodwin, and I am a project coordinator here at the University of Wyoming and the Wyoming Center on Aging. Today, we're going to be talking about a relatively new walking intervention that the center is moving forward with, and wanted to give you all some information about it so that you could decide if it's something that is of interest to you and your patrons. So today, I've just got a short 10, 12 slide deck to move through with you. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the project, and then we'll move into what the course is all about, including the class structure, target demographic, outcomes that participants can expect in terms of going through this class. We'll also talk about what it takes to become trained to deliver this, or what it takes to put this on at your facility. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about the level of support that WyCOA and myself can give you guys. So a little bit of background just to get started. This On the Move project began here in response to a grant that we received back in May of 22. So this grant in its entirety, or this project rather, in its entirety is supported by a grant from the ACL, the Administration for Community Living. At present, we have 4 trained instructors across the state, myself being one of them, and 3 others here in Albany County, Basin, and Thermopolis. We've also are in progress with 1 class that's going to be wrapping up next month, and that's where things stand at the moment. So moving on to the class and what it is. On the Move, it's a group-based motor learning exercise program. And what that means is really that the goal of this class is not to be a balance intervention or a falls prevention intervention, but rather it's designed to help people walk better, specifically by targeting the timing and the coordination of their walking patterns. This program was developed in 2017 by a team of physical therapists and researchers at the University of Pittsburg. It's also recognized as an evidence-based program by the ACL. And Wyoming is one of 4 states that's implementing this at the current time. So in terms of what classes actually look like on the ground, it is a 12-week program where participants meet twice a week for 50 to 60 minutes for each session. Classes are led by a certified instructor, and untrained assistants are welcome. So if you've got a large class, it's perfectly fine to bring in someone that isn't an official instructor to kind of help assist and facilitate the class. It's really designed to be offered in community settings, including senior centers, public libraries, public health organizations, the whole gambit. And in terms of size, 24 is the stated participant maximum. 24 is quite a large class, but that's usually more in the 10 to 15 range is a great size. Diving a little bit more into the class structure, pretty simple 5-point format. Participants begin with a short warm-up, and then they transition into walking patterns. You can see some of those on the side there, especially all the way at the bottom. After that, we kind of move into a stepping phase, followed by some strengthening work, and then lastly, a cool down. So moving through those various stages of the class, things that you'll notice if you dive into this or see much more of it. Classes are extremely repetitive, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Anyone that has a kind of a motor learning background knows that in order for something to stick, it really has to be done accurately, many times, in order for it to really become ingrained and useful to someone. Classes are also very adaptive. Over those 12 weeks, the instructor has a lot of latitude to add exercises as appropriate and progress people through as they kind of see fit. And lastly, but not leastly by any means, the classes are meant to be relatively challenging and also very socially engaging. During these walking, stepping, strengthening patterns, we commonly play music to help participants kind of stay on time with the movement patterns. And there's also opportunities for participants to kind of talk and interact with one another while they're performing these exercises. The very last bullet point there, we do not have a particular focus on delivering this virtually. However, this class is allowed to be delivered virtually, and there are modifications in place to allow people to do this at their home. So if this was something that you were interested in pursuing from a virtual delivery standpoint, that does exist. In terms of the target demographic, who this class is best for, it's really designed for individuals who can walk household distances, either with or without assistive devices such as canes, walkers, and whatnot. It's also designed for people that want to improve their walking or their balance, people that are fearful of falling, but are not necessarily at a high fall risk. And also people that have chronic conditions such as arthritis, heart disease, or diabetes. And like I indicated in the last slide, it is meant to be a fun and engaging class. So there's a social component and a social exercise component that is great for participants. In general, the classes are very open to most people. However, some exclusion criteria there are people that are very medically unstable, where their physicians might not recommend them doing something like this. Also, anyone that is working with some sort of progressive neuromuscular disorder, you can see like Parkinson's or ALS there. This intervention isn't specifically designed to address progressive disorders and diseases like that. And lastly, while directions are not overly complicated, participants should be able to follow a two-step command. Do this, and then after that, do this following thing. In terms of goals and what participants can see after going through this course, main goals are to improve walking speed, the distance that they can walk without feeling like they need a rest, improving their pace, which is really the quality of their walking. And as I said before, this is not a falls intervention or a balance intervention. However, individuals with a better walking quality are at a decreased risk for falling. So it's an indirect way to address those sorts of considerations if participants are interested. Lastly, it's meant to improve participants' confidence while they're moving about, and that improves their EDLs, their ease of daily tasks. With the original program study back in 2017 really bore out those previous improvements that I showed you, especially improvements in mobility, the speed and the distance that participants were able to cover. That study also showed that compared to standard exercise programs, interventions with programs, this course yielded greater results with less effort, less classes. And lastly, I looked at the cost benefit analysis of it. It's a very high value option for community-based programming. Moving right along, what does it take to become trained in this? If you go to the University of Pittsburgh's website and you kind of go down the rabbit hole of learning what it takes to become an on-the-move instructor, you'll see language such as what you see in the first bullet point here, that instructors have to be a licensed health professional or certified fitness instructor. There's actually some flexibility there, as long as the aspiring facilitator is comfortable leading group exercise classes, has experience in that realm of monitoring people while they're doing physical activity. They don't strictly need to hold some sort of certification as long as they have applicable experience and competence. As long as they have that, a facilitator just needs to attend and pass the requirements of a training course. Right now, those are all being put on by the University of Pittsburgh, by the program coordinators, and they're doing them all remotely. It's just 2 4-hour Zoom sessions, usually like a Monday, Wednesday, something like that, with a little bit of pre-course work. And lastly, they highly recommend that the facilitator holds a current CPR certification, since participants are engaging in physical activity. This really moves us on to the last slide that I have for you all today, which is support and how WyCOA fits into all of this. We're really here to provide implementation and monetary support to get this program off the ground. From a marketing standpoint, that means helping create flyers, printed materials, and also establishing and helping you function within referral networks. WyCOA has a lot of relationships across the state with various referring entities. So when it comes time to scheduling workshops, we're there to kind of help fill those workshops and get the word out to various communities that workshop is happening and we're enrolling participants. Lastly, we handle and make as easy for you as possible any evaluation data. Since this is a grant-funded project, we have certain responsibilities in terms of reporting demographics and the types of people that engage in these programs. So we take care of all of that. Moving on to monetary support, as I said, this is a grant-supported project. We are able to cover any training fees. So if you end up going to the University of Pittsburgh's website and you're clicking around, you'll see training fees associated with becoming a facilitator. WyCOA is able to cover those training fees. We can also cover any class materials that aren't already in place. Class materials are pretty minimal, actually. A set of cones, dodgeball style ball for every participant, and a Bluetooth speaker to play music is really all that's required. And last but not least, we do have funds set aside as a delivery stipend to pay either the instructor or the facility, or however that relationship shakes out. At this time, we're not exactly advertising. We don't have a set amount for that delivery stipend. There's a number of factors that can kind of influence that. However, if you're interested and you want to know more, that's kind of a one-on-one conversation that we would have. That really brings us to the end of what I have for you today. Kind of sped through things, but it's a pretty straightforward program. If at this time, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to ask away.
Is there a certain number of instructors or areas that you're hoping to implement this in throughout the state?
Oh, that is a great question. This is a multi-year grant project. Our year one goal was to expand to 3 counties. So we do have 3 instructors at present. And as we're kind of entering year 2, we're looking to kind of push that number out a little bit. We don't have a hard and fast number in the sense that we're not limited to only 2 more instructors, or we're trying to reach 10 instructors or something along those lines. Right now we're in an early growth phase, and if it's a good fit, we'd like to support as many as we can. Yeah, thanks, Kara. Hi, Jermaine. I see your hand up. Oh, I see your hand up, but I don't.
Now I'm unmuted. Well, I'm a participant. I'm a participant, and I just logged on today because I was interested in seeing just what your presentation was. And I'm a participant in the Albany County one here in Laramie, which is just dynamite. There are 24 of us, I think, in this class. It's a big class. Yeah. Tennille, who is the main instructor, and she has some helpers. And I'm telling you, it is just what every senior needs to do. I'm probably the matriarch of the class, but I'm finding that I've even, having lived here all my life, meeting new people and, just the social connectivity and the community involvement, along with the fact that it's an hour and we're out of there, and it's, we're doing it over the noon hour, and I'm sure various times can be selected, but I just wanted to compliment the program from a participant standpoint. And I think that certainly the word has circulated throughout the Laramie and Albany County area that hopefully that this will continue on, maybe this fall or whenever that you can get it in various schedules. And I'd like to ask maybe that you even contact the senior center here, the Epson Center for Seniors. They have a fall prevention program, and it is run by a lady who does have a degree in kinesiology from the University of Wyoming. So you might be able to implement that as a facility, which would be a little bit larger too. You know, we are somewhat constrained by the size of the library room that we're in. It works fine, but you know, it might be something to investigate. But I want to thank you very much. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. It is a really fun class. Like Jermaine said, we're about 8 or 9 weeks into a 12-week class, and I've been lucky enough to be able to cover 2 or 3 of those for our main instructor as she's been out on various things. So yeah, it's an extremely fun, sociable class. I do kind of get the sense that participants are enjoying it quite a bit, which is wonderful. And yeah, we're looking forward to scheduling our next, hopefully at the senior center or a new location, just to mix things up and continue to be out there. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate it.
This is Patty. Can a dental hygienist become certified?
Yeah, again, like I said, and as I kind of redistribute this recording, I'll send along the slideshow and some more information. If you end up on the Move website through the University of Pittsburgh, the language seems very restrictive there in terms of needing to have a specific degree or certification. Really, at the end of the day, as long as the person that is looking to become a facilitator it has some experience operating in that group exercise realm, that's really usually sufficient. It is a little much to kind of come into it having never taught a group exercise class. It's a little much to come into controlling a larger size group and being able to give people feedback and whatnot. But
So I work at a state facility. Do you think that would work there? And
yeah,
I'm also thinking maybe the senior center over in Riverton. I live in Fremont County, so I was just thinking of all the opportunities we would have.
sure, yeah. Yeah, I think it certainly could. It's another strength of the program is that it's pretty minimal in terms of the the equipment needed. Obviously, space is a limiting factor there. If your class is 8 people versus 24 people, you need to be able to adjust the class size to match how much space you have for people to walk around and complete the exercise.
We have a great gym up here.
Yeah, if you have a gym or a basketball court or something like that, that's
Yes.
usually a lot of space.
So is there material that I could present to administration to see if it'd be something they'd be interested in?
Sure, yeah, I could help get that together for you, Patty. Definitely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll put my email in the chat box, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, any other questions or comments, concerns? Yeah, thanks for your contact info, Patty. I see that there now, so I'll make sure I grab that.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no more burning questions, I can feel free to let you guys go. We're just at 20 some odd minutes or so. But I'll be hanging out if anyone, has anything they'd like to ask me privately, or if you'd like me to kind of keep you informed or pass along any additional materials, feel free to put your contact info in the chat there. Harry, I see yours. Thank you so much. And I'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop as we have more information and as things move forward.